I got a makeover, Dad! Don't I look great?
Oh, Meg, honey, I always thought you were beautiful just the way you... oh, God. Couldn't do that with a straight face.
This video was made possible by my patrons, Joshua Bartlett, James Schubach, Hector Defendi, Douglas Smith, and Capitalism is Good. Thank you so much to all of you. Hello everyone, this is My Two Cents, and today we're going to be talking about beauty. Those of you who follow my Beauty and Brain series know that I think that beauty is important. Now, that's not to say it's always the most important thing, of course. I mean, a beautiful liberal can be just as harmful as a red-pilled beauty can be helpful. Further, if you're beautiful, but you're also a total it's a major turnoff. Nonetheless, some people are beautiful, and some people aren't. Is this fair? No. But you want to know what else isn't fair? Life. The sooner you come to the realization that life isn't fair, the happier you'll be. Now, not everyone can be a supermodel. But a person's willingness to invest in health and good grooming does have an effect on other areas of their life. The fact that you might never be as beautiful as someone else doesn't mean it's not important to care for your appearance. People who don't make a reasonable effort to look nice usually don't work hard on other things in life either. The way you live is all-encompassing. If you're responsible with some things, like exercising regularly and eating healthy and dressing smartly, it's likely that you're also responsible in other areas. That being said, we're going to be looking at a video put out by crazy feminist Melissa Fabello. Some of you may know her for the video she put out begging for money when the website Everyday Feminism was going down the tubes. Shame it didn't die then. But then, if people out there wanted to fund this garbage with their own money, that's their prerogative. Let's get into it.
Today I'm gonna be a beauty vlogger, but like not the kind that has perfectly winged eyeliner or the bombest lipstick. Except...
Oh gosh, Melissa, looking so darn sexy with that hair flip. I find that offensive. Don't you know that you're insulting ugly people by looking good? Check that privilege, girl.
Nah. Today I want to talk about the concept of beauty and what its place in the body acceptance movement is. Because you might think this is a no-brainer, but that's probably because you're sitting on one of two sides of a fence. Because there's a little bit of a debate about it. On the one hand, some people say that beauty is something that all people should be entitled to feel. Think slogans like, all bodies are beautiful. The idea here is that because beauty is a socially constructed idea, we can redefine its parameters and let everybody into the party.
You can believe you're beautiful all you want. But then you can also believe that you're a human-elephant hybrid who identifies as a Mongolian unicorn wizard. Doesn't mean you can make other people believe it. I hate to break it to you, but if most people don't think you're beautiful, you probably aren't. Does this mean you're worthless as a person? Of course not, but your beliefs don't change reality.
On the other hand, some folks say that beauty is inherently meaningless, not to mention oppressive, and that it shouldn't hold value in the first place. The idea here is that because beauty is a socially constructed idea, we should just obliterate it altogether and entirely stop focusing on aesthetics as a source of value.
You can't force people what to value. There are some men who actually prefer chubby women to thin women. Why? You'll have to ask them. But value is subjective, which is why you can't demand that people value things the way you do.
In the past, I've sat firmly in both camps, which means that our feelings on this are absolutely allowed to be fluid. And I think that both notions can be valuable. But lately, I've been feeling more like we can have our cake and eat it too, and that both of these approaches can, and maybe should, happen at the same time.
Classic liberal. I can believe contradictory things at the same time and I don't have to worry about it at all. I can also take a left and a right simultaneously when I reach the end of the street.
So let's talk about where the idea of beauty came from in the first place and then deconstruct how we can approach it as body acceptance activists. Beauty, in short, is a combination of qualities or attributes that please the aesthetic senses, generally sight. Beauty, of course, is in the eye of the beholder, and each of us probably finds different things attractive. My type and your type, whether we're talking about sexual romantic partners or like art, may be completely different, but they're still equally beautiful to us individually, and that's totally valid.
Exactly, which is why you can't demand that any given person find any given trait attractive no matter how much you scream. So are you saying you're not going to complain if I say that being grossly overweight is not beautiful?
The idea of beauty is complicated though because it's not just about our own personal preferences and attractions. Our concepts of beauty, especially as they apply to other people, also have biological and socio-historical foundations which affects how we perceive them. Biologically, who we find attractive should be based in who would make the best mate. Generally speaking, from a strictly instinctual standpoint, that means people who seem the healthiest. Evolutionary science is a little bit ableist. If the limbic system in our brains is all about survival of our species, then we should be attracted to people who we think might be fertile. According to an essentialist perspective of science, this is usually related to youth and perceived health status, marking stuff like clear skin, lustrous hair, and, well, the absence of lesions as attributes to look for.
Bingo! And if you're fat, covered in acne, have dirty hair, and are all around just gross, it says a lot about your lifestyle and how responsible you are. If you want to be overweight, great, that's your prerogative. However, you can't complain when most people don't find you attractive. A person who doesn't have the drive to exercise regularly or consider the health implications of their diet is probably not responsible in other areas of their life, and therefore likely not a good choice for a mate.
But our cultural and historical positions matter too, because both the concepts of health and beauty, as well as how they may be related, shift depending on where in the world you are and what time period you're in. For example, in times and in places when and where access to food is harder to come by and famine is a concern, larger, lusher, well-fed bodies are more often seen as a beauty ideal because they represent health. But in our socio-historical positioning, whereby in many ways there is an abundance of food and concern around overeating, thinner bodies are seen as a beauty ideal because they represent health. And these two paradigms help explain why some people think beauty has a shit ton of value and why others think it's meaningless. Some say that beauty will always matter because we're evolutionarily wired to be attracted to it, and others will say that how we understand beauty is clearly dependent on social factors, so it has no inherent purpose.
Well, golly, if it has no inherent purpose, why are you even making this video? By even addressing this topic, you've implicitly admitted that beauty is in fact important, at least to some degree. If it had no value whatsoever, you wouldn't be talking about it, and no one else would either.
Here's where things get kind of sticky. On the one hand, I agree that the existence of beauty standards turns what essentialists want to call attraction into a weapon of oppression. When cultural elites hold the power to name what's beautiful and what's not, or even what's healthy and what's not, that power can be used and is used to keep others down. In the trailer to the upcoming documentary Fatitude, my friend Virgie Tovar says, in regards to how we talk about fat, for instance, which is a byproduct of how we talk about beauty, that we can use that language all we want, but, quote, make no mistake, we're talking about gender, we're talking about race, and we're talking about class. Upholding the beauty ideal is upholding oppression.
Oppression alert! Oppression alert! Beauty causes oppression! Beauty causes oppression! Here's how it is, Melissa. People are free to value whatever sort of beauty standards they want, including you, including your overweight friends. However, you can't force anyone else to share your values. If you go to a job interview and you get turned down because someone else was prettier, tough. That's what freedom means, and business owners are free to hire whoever they want for any reason. However, assuming that I was a business owner, I would know that my business is more likely to be successful if I have this woman greeting my customers at the receptionist desk than if this woman were greeting my customers. Is this fair? No. But you want to know what else isn't fair? Life.
Because the beauty ideal is one in which oppressed groups like women, trans and gender nonconforming folks, people of color, disabled people, and poor and working class people are left out. When being seen culturally as beautiful means being a certain size, having certain facial features, adhering to a gender binary, having an able-minded body, having light skin, hair, and eyes, and having the money for certain clothes, haircuts, makeup, whatever, then that creates a standard of beauty that very few people fit into.
Bingo! I hate to break it to you, Melissa, but most women will never look like Kate Upton, and most men will never look like Chris Hemsworth. Is this fair? No, but again, life's not fair. Look, you don't have to try and invest your time and resources into looking beautiful if you don't want to. That's your prerogative. But at the same time, you can't just demand that other people think you're beautiful. If you exercise regularly, eat healthy, dress smartly, and behave politely, odds are there are people out there who will find you attractive, no matter who you are. Just look at the wide disparity between celebrity women that various men find attractive. Just because you might never be Kate Upton doesn't mean it's unimportant to try and look presentable.
And as if that's not bad enough, we also hold beauty in high regard. Especially for women, beauty is the #1 most important thing that we're supposed to be. Forget smart, forget sensitive, forget thoughtful, funny, resourceful, talented. Women, first and foremost, should be beautiful to have value as people.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but the reason for that is because for better or for worse, that's what men value. If I'm looking to hire a receptionist, I'm looking for someone warm and attractive who will draw more customers into my business. The person most qualified for this will naturally be a younger, attractive woman. If I'm looking for a spokesperson to get people to consider controversial ideas, again, I'm looking for a younger, beautiful woman who in this case also has a brain. Check out my Beauty and Brain series if you have any doubts about the effectiveness of this strategy. If I'm looking for a biomedical engineer to help develop a new revolutionary technology in the medical field, well, in that case, academic qualifications are going to be far more important than physical appearance. However, if there are two equally qualified candidates, one is beautiful and one isn't, I'm probably going to go with the former. The fact that this woman takes the time to care about her appearance says a lot about her character and work ethic and grasp on reality compared to the woman who doesn't.
So, when you combine the fact that beauty, especially for women, is held in high regard as a necessary trait that we have to have, with the fact that it's almost impossible to fit into society's standard of beauty, it's no wonder people are pissed.
Yeah, they hate the fact that life is unfair. I'll never look like Chris Hemsworth, but it doesn't change the fact that women do find him attractive. Crying about the fact that people value beauty won't change the fact that they do.
So when people say, beauty ideal, let's destroy beauty as a valuable commodity, I totally get where they're coming from. Because we shouldn't be holding people up to those standards in the first place and judging their worth based on how well they meet them.
We should judge people based on their merits, and their merits depend on the situation. Like I said, beauty is more or less important depending on whether you're applying to be a receptionist or an astrophysicist. But overall, a person's lifestyle and grooming decisions do tell you a lot about other aspects of their life.
There's a lot of pain associated with those standards, and there's a lot of violence that's inflicted because of them too. And so long as we believe that beauty is significant and worth striving toward, the longer people will be oppressed by beauty.
Oppression! Oppression! Grow up, Melissa. If you want to be successful in life, you're going to have to invest in healthy life decisions and good grooming. You don't have to if you don't want to, but you can't force people not to value these things. Every society has valued beauty. Beauty sells. Do you really think people are ever going to completely ignore something if it sells?
However, there are also people who feel like by virtue of feeling beautiful and showing off their confidence in the face of oppressive beauty standards, we can also destroy the beauty ideal. For example, if you scroll through Instagram and see images of fat people, trans people, disabled people, people of color, and more, owning their beauty and their happiness with and in their bodies despite cultural messages telling them that their bodies make them worthless, what does that do to our concept of what beauty means?
Anyone who has to surround themselves with people who constantly tell them they're beautiful doesn't really believe it. If you honestly thought you were beautiful, you wouldn't need other people to tell you so.
Some people see these images and say that people are objectifying themselves, devaluing themselves, seeing themselves as only or primarily bodies, and commodifying themselves by trying to invite themselves into an oppressive system. And these people say, no, we shouldn't want to be beautiful in the first place. Beauty is irrelevant.
You can say it's irrelevant all you want. Reality shows otherwise. Sure, Sports Illustrated can virtue signal by including plus-size models in their issue, but who did they put on the cover again?
But then there are others who see these images and feel empowered, confident, and attractive. And like the beauty ideal that's been force-fed to them is total bullshit, that there are all sorts of ways to be beautiful. And I think that's powerful too, especially insofar as what it can do for marginalized people who never see bodies like theirs represented as valuable. Really, what this comes down to is, should we want to feel beautiful? Is wanting to feel like our bodies and our beauties are valuable a bad thing? My take on it is that it's kick-ass and radical to be able to say f system, and I'm down for the entire oppressive system. But I also think that in the meantime, we're living in that system. We're living in a beauty-obsessed capitalist system that makes our day-to-day lives really hard. Can we blame people for wanting to feel beautiful within a culture that values beauty over all else? I don't think so. And I'm okay with folks finding their own ways to smash that shit. I think it takes all kinds of efforts to take down patriarchy and other systems of power. And my hope for you is that you find the niche that feels good to you, and that we can work together to eventually obliterate the oppression that standards of beauty uphold.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Good for you, Melissa. You go, girl. You go on denying reality like every other SJW libtard out there. But wait, you're wearing makeup. Your hair is colored and it's neatly brushed. Why, you're wearing a presentable outfit. Looks to me like you're trying to conform to some sort of beauty standard. Don't you know that by even filming yourself right now, you're oppressing women who look like this? Stop looking good, Melissa. It's oppressive. Look, in all seriousness, lest it sound like I'm hating on ugly people, what I simply want people to understand is that you are defined first and foremost by what you do. Yes, not everyone can be a supermodel, but the decisions you make about caring for your appearance do have an effect on how people will perceive you. If you're happy with how you look, that's great. But if you have to constantly surround yourself with people who tell you you're beautiful or who tell you your looks don't matter, then I suspect in your heart of hearts you don't really believe it. If you did, you wouldn't need people to say it to you all the time. Exercise. Eat healthy. Dress smartly. You don't have to be a supermodel, but beauty is important. That's my 2 cents. Take it for what it's worth. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe. You can also hit the bell to ensure you're notified every time I upload a new video. This video was made possible by my patrons, Joshua Bartlett, James Schubach, Hector Defendi, Douglas Smith, and Capitalism is Good. If anyone else would like to donate and help ensure that I have the time and resources to keep putting out content, for just $1 a month on Patreon, you'll receive a shout out at the beginning and end of every video and the link to one of your social media platforms in the description. You can also follow me on Twitter, minds.com, VidMe, WordPress, BitChute, and iTunes. Uploads are every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so stay tuned for more videos.
Wow, great job getting hot, Meg!
Gee, thanks.
Hey, Meg.
Oh, hi, Craig.
Now that you're attractive, how about we go out sometime?
Gosh, I'd love to.
Great. I'll pick you up whenever I feel like it.
Hey, Meg. We noticed Craig Hoffman just asked you out. That makes you cool. Want to hang out with us?
Wow, sure.
Hey, I'm here to pick you up.